a lot of Laker fans are really frustrated with Gasol, and I've seen it
Yes, they are.
Yeah,
yes, they are.
I get it. He's not the same player clearly that he was a few years ago, and the mobility's not there. I think with Gasol, though, it's interesting. I think what he brings to the table at this point in his career is just his basketball IQ. Like last year, I remember Zach Lowe was on his podcast, and he was talking about the Raptors' defense, and he wanted to figure out which player on the Raptors was the most important to their defense. And he talked to a bunch of coaches from around the league, and they all said Gasol. And they said he's constantly calling out their team's plays. He's the quarterback. Like, he makes everyone around him better defensively. Now, part of that is because he was familiar with what Toronto was doing and, knew the scheme and knew all of his teammates' tendencies and strengths and weaknesses. He doesn't really have that this year. So, again, it doesn't help that he's not able to practice with these guys and bond with them more. So that's a problem. But I think at this point in his career, what he really brings is some of that same stuff that, we hear about, like LeBron, for example, where he's yelling at the other team's plays and just his knowledge and film study and all that. It's just, I get the Laker fans' frustration whenever you're watching him and he can barely move out there, and you're just like, I understand the frustration, but I do think he could still impact the game and help the team, even despite the fact that he's not what he was physically. So I've been impressed.
World's most intimidating traffic cone, Alex. That's what I call him.
Yeah, and smartest too. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. He just part of it is too. When he goes out on the court, he looks like a guy who needs a better tailor. Like he's always tugging at his uniform to get the shorts to stay up. Like there's a very dad bod thing going on there, like where he just doesn't look kind of comfortable in the uniform, and like all of it, the aesthetics compared to JaVale and Dwight, guys who are super athletic and they're bouncing around, blocking shots and swatting stuff around. I think you combine that with the changes in the defense. Like they are defending this year differently with Harrell and Gasol than they did with JaVale and Dwight. And the numbers are just as good in some ways at this point in the season. They're actually better, but it's different.